Hello, Twilight Struggle fans, and welcome to ITSL Game of the Week here on Action Round Zero. Justin Abramson back with you once again, flying solo for this one. And we've got an absolute barn burner for you today as Poland's Bartosz Wróbel takes on Jorge Iosifidis of Greece. Bartosz is having a solid ITSL season. He currently sits at 7-4, but he's got some work to do to make the playoffs. He's also having a great RTSL campaign as well and has the inside track to take home the title. Jorge sits right behind Bartosz in their division at 5-3, but he won the whole darn thing at the convention last year and is known for outside-the-box plays that can really throw our by-the-book players for a loop. So wherever you are in the world and whatever time it is for you, buckle up for a wild and woolly ITSL adventure here on Action Round Zero, Twilight Struggle's biggest stage. Now let's get to this one. We will be watching from Bartosz's side today. Bartosz is playing the USA, and he's got a tough hand here. There's no question about that. Defectors, probably the headline, almost certainly. He's got D-stall, he's got Europe, and he almost certainly is not going to be able to get that Dom off. He's going to want to event captured Nazi. And yeah, this is going to be uncomfortable for Bartosz, no question. He'll want to probably dump Europe for nothing. He's got, I figure Defectors is your headline. The Cambridge 5 is playable only after Europe is scored, so you've got 2 ops of Cambridge 5, 2 ops of Fidel, 1 of Romanian, 2 of Special, and then CNS is an event. So you've got 7 ops to work with. Oh boy, and here we go already with the Tibet opening. So Jorge is going with Alex Yusuf Lim's favorite opening with 4 in East Germany, 5 in Austria, and leaving Poland empty. So that could mean we're looking at socialist governments, but definitely an issue here for Bartosz with Europe in his hand. Now, he does have defectors, so I'll be very curious to see what he does. You could set up 4-4-2 and headline Europe, with the thinking being then that if you see a SOC Govs headline, okay, you'll still get Europe out of your hand for even. You could go 4-4-2 headline defectors. That gives you domination heading into AR1. I think West Germany likely to be realigned then. You could do something weird like 4-1-3, or you could also do 3-3-2 defectors. So a lot of options available to Bartosz. Let's see how he handles this. Okay, going to go thinking about 3-3-2 in Europe. No, thinking about just opening up with a straight up Europe domination. That's exactly what he's going to do, and he's going to headline defectors. Okay, so already weird, wild stuff happening. Defectors, the headline, and we'll see what Jorge decides to do. I assume we're going to see socialist governments, which is going to be met with a very sad defectors. Alex, I hope you're watching. We've seen because we've got the Tibet opening here. Bad news for Bartosz is even if he's able to get the Europe Dom off, he has very few ops to work with to spread over the rest of the board. Yep, there's SOC Govs. Both players have already used, in Bartosz's case, almost 2.5 minutes, and 2.5 minutes in full. Okay, and here's a big old coup. That's going to be China, and he misses on the roll, but Bartosz can't take Italy back. But what he can do is just score an immediate domination because Poland was left empty. So good for him. And now certainly, Jorge going to take Middle East presence and take Italy. Bartosz needs to get Middle East presence of his own. The question is, how does he want to do that? Do you want to go Iran and get out of Iran into Western Asia? That's how I would do it, I think. Oh, no, I would, okay. That I can understand that, but we don't have the ops to take Thailand this turn anyway. I would have been getting out of Iran there, I think. But okay, now Iran open for a coup. Of course, Bartosz can get the last coup back if he so desires, but it'll only be a 2-op coup. Okay, AI war for influence could have been an event, but just goes influence, 1 each into South Korea and Saudi Arabia. That is not the play of someone who has Middle East scoring, or Asia scoring for that matter. And Bartosz just cashes in 2 VPs, and he'll go up 7. So being up 7 VPs as the U.S. on turn 1 is fantastic, but he has lost Italy. And he needs some mill ops, and he has precious few ops to work with. Oh boy, AI war and Suez in Jorge's hand. AI war and Suez could have knocked him out of Israel. Elected not to. And Bartosz just going to coup in Syria. He's going to keep DEFCON where it is. That gets him 1 mill op. Already interesting start for this one. Oh, and quickly gives NORAD, and there goes Gulf States. So Gulf States, yeah, Bartosz thinking that's weird. Yeah, Gulf States on turn 1. Boy, you do not see that every day. It is worth a point for OPEC, of course, and it's not a battleground you're going to coup. And so he locks in that non-battleground. Wow. Yeah. Surprised not to see Jordan there instead. Obviously, no, it was cooped out of Syria, so cooped. I say that on accidentally sometimes. He was knocked out of Syria, so no access to Lebanon, but would have thought he'd go Jordan there, even to get access to Israel. Okay, and now a Fidel coup seems most likely because Bartosz doesn't want to give up 3 VPs. And I think, yeah, Asia coup, and he rolls a 1, so it doesn't matter. Okay, very strange turn 1, but domination in the weirdest possible way in the Middle East for Jorge. He's got the 2 3-stab battlegrounds, and then he's got the 3-stab non-battleground. You don't often see Gulf States taken on turn 1. That is a new one on me. Much better hand for Bartosz here turn 2. No big events to speak of. But he's got a couple of 4-ops. He gets De Gaulle. And 5-year plan, a reasonable headline. Trying to snipe Marshall here, I suspect. DEFCON goes up to 4. And Jorge knows that Defectors is gone. So you could see a decall headline here. Vietnam revolts, I think, would be more likely. That gives Dom in the headline. Middle East scoring also a reasonable headline. Middle East unlikely to get better. Yep, and there's Vietnam. Okay. And, oh, a duck pull. That's interesting and probably not what Bartosz wanted to see. Gets him 2 VPs, but now he's going to be able to get, but now, oh, and there's CIA, and he's going to go event first. Boy, surprised at that. Okay, so a great hand for Jorge, and thank you once again to Anton Scott. He has is showing the known cards for us. Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. And now Bartosz is going to be able to keep Thailand. I think that was the rare situation where you want to take your ops first. As CIA, and just use them to put 2 into Thailand. I think that would have been a better play. But okay. Jorge will content himself with Lao. He's got Purge and IP War. I wonder if we'll see that fired off here. Jorge now has the option to coup. I think that's what he'll do. With CIA gone, I'd expect a coup of Panama, probably. But we could see an aggressive play in Iran here, particularly with IP war in hand. Also worth noting, no scoring cards in either player's hand, so Middle East and Asia will both make it to turn 3. And Bartosz should get free passage to all the way to Libya if he wants it, which could flip over Middle East Dom. Marshall, definitely not a card you want to give here unless you're taking Greece and Turkey with it. I'd just space it. Oh, a Purge event. Wow. A very interesting play. How badly is that going to hurt? So De Gaulle now has to be probably spaced. Truman obviously doesn't affect, but it does cost you 3 ops. So Jorge gonna give up 4 ops to stop Bartosz to rob 3 ops from Bartosz. Okay, so now Bartosz with the option to coup. Does he want to take a coup of a 3 stab just to lower DEFCON and protect Panama? Or does he want to do something else? Surprised to see a mid-turn purge there. And Bartosz up 9 VP, but there's a good chance it's going to stay that way. Until at least, until the end of this turn. Jorge with IP war, so doesn't need to worry about mill ops. Bartosz having a long think about this. This is a little bit of a strange turn. Okay, so now he's going to take Olympic and event it. Oh, and he's going to miss the roll. Wow. Yeah, you do sometimes see Olympics evented under Purge in the early war when DEFCON has not yet made its way down to 2. I think the play was fine there. Okay, influence now. And then Burma. Okay, so just going to country count in Asia. So yeah, got to take India, and I think you might as well take Philippines as well. You better not lose this IP war if you're Bartosz. Country count in Asia now 6-5 in favor of Bartosz. We will see. So domination right now. Bartosz right now has domination, but this will be a full 10 VP flip if an IP war hits. But now, also worth noting is that Jorge does not know that Bartosz doesn't have Asia, so he might feel pressured to take Burma here. Question is, what do you take it with? Blockade is going to be evented, certainly. Okay, and he's not going to trigger the war. Just going to flip Indonesia. Yeah, I'm very surprised to see that. Hitting the war there would have been game-changing. Okay, and now mill ops are a concern, so Bartosz says, well, why not? I'm going to just go ahead and take my free, essentially 3 VP by stopping mill ops. Jorge not going to fool anybody with this blockade. And fortunately for Bartosz, Jorge played China on turn 1. So Bartosz can still hold D-stall. Yeah, Lebanon there seems to make sense. So he was too busy fighting in Asia to take that free passage all the way to Libya. Now Nasser obviously is the question. Who's getting Nasser? Who's getting the scorings? Okay, both scorings now in Jorge's hand. Along with UN, US, Japan. That's not much fun. EEU is interesting, with Poland empty. And then, yeah, 2 battlegrounds apiece. I think Europe is a fine headline here. The other Marshall is nice, but I think you probably need the ops of Marshall. Obviously, never mind. Europe is a huge risk here because a SocGov's headline gives presenceless Dom to Jorge. Europe is a huge, huge risk. But I can understand not wanting to play Marshall. no known good headlines in Jorge's hand. And SocGov's maybe not a great headline because he has 2 known scoring cards and they are not Europe. See what Jorge decides to do. Both players playing with 45-minute clocks today. Another tough hand for Bartosz, but as long as he doesn't get purged, he'll be fine. He can just space decall, give Nasser after Middle East comes. Korean War is no big deal. Okay, and there's Asia. Yeah, and that makes sense as a headline. You're going to give up a VP, but you are not going to get dominated. Now, we should just see a coup. I assume we'd see a coup of Panama, but perhaps Iran, with Middle East scoring known in Jorge's hand. I think I like Panama better because decall and destall both known in Bartosz's hand. So Jorge knows he's not getting into the Americas anytime soon, barring a junta or Allende. So I'd coup Panama, and then the U.S. will take Egypt, and then I think I'd just dump Middle East right there. But there certainly is a case to coup Iran. And again, we see the downside of the Tibet opening. He does get Italy, but doesn't score Dom on turn 1. But excuse me, Bartosz scored Dom on turn 1, and then on turn 3, Bartosz gets out of Europe for even when he, by all rights, should have had a domination because Poland should have been filled. So there's the downside of that peculiar new opening that is making the rounds. Jorge is still thinking here. I think this is just a coup of Panama. I don't know why you wouldn't coup. It's either coup of Panama or coup of Iran. I don't know what else would make sense. But perhaps also Jorge thinking about the fact that he is down 9 VPs and both access cards are in Bartosz's hand. And he's thinking, I need to get some VPs right now. So maybe he is thinking about a coup in Iran. I want to thank you for tuning in today, folks. I apologize for not having a co-commentator with me. I think I had one available yesterday, but I just kind of dropped the ball a little bit. My son turns 5 today, and I've been busy prepping for that, and so wasn't able to coordinate a time. But thank you for tuning in. This has been an interesting one so far. Certainly have to like Bartosz's position. Okay, and just a 2-op coup with an unknown. He's going to coup Lebanon. That I don't understand. I don't think I understand Lebanon. Middle East scoring is known. That does nothing to change the domination situation. Lebanon doesn't seem like that important a country to me. Okay. All right, I like this. This stops domination, and it takes Canada. So, and with NORAD in effect, this isn't that friendly a board for NORAD, but of course NORAD could still go into Panama and could flip over Indonesia. Wish I had a co-commentator to bounce ideas off. This is wild. So now I think I would coup. Now you're not getting Middle East Dom without a big roll. Okay, and there goes NATO. And he rolls a 1 in Iran. So this should just repair that. Unless he wants to get fancy and go Indonesia. Could go Indonesia and then Korean War takes Indonesia and Iran. I don't know why the coup of Lebanon was necessary. It doesn't do much for you. I think the play here could be, Southeast Asia could come back, obviously, put the NORAD up in Indonesia and then use independent Reds to take Iran and to take Indonesia. But if you want to complete the walk up to Cameroon, you're running out of ops to do that. If you want to take Panama and Mexico, obviously that is important as well. Could just do something like Libya. And Angola. But let's do the old Michael Stryker thing of adding up the ops in our hand. Decall obviously has to go to space. Korean War probably will not be spaced. Yeah, I like Libya, Angola. I like this play. Yeah, I think this is good. So Nasser is essentially free once Middle East is scored. So that's 3 ops, 5 playable ops. I think you've got to go 1 Zaire, 1 Panama, probably 2 Mexico and 1 Cameroon. And good play there by Bartosz, getting Comecon out before EEU, so EEU can then remove from Poland. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense to me. This is essentially a 5 op for 1 VP trade. But I suppose not much else to do with your ops, although you could poke France and maybe go into Algeria. You could take Afghanistan, just no access to speak of here for Jorge, so perhaps I shouldn't be so quick to criticize. Okay, there's Israel, and maybe you'll probably see a poke to get, yeah, there you go. And then that's going to fix that and go Zaire, which makes sense. Flip of Pakistan is now on the table, but obviously Asia is scored and the war is around. Jorge down to 23 and a half minutes on his clock. Already burned through almost half his time here in the early war. Okay, going to jam. And I think the play here is you simply poke Iraq, and that stops Dom. Okay, the war hits, so that's 2 VPs for too much needed VPs for Jorge. Now, give credit to Jorge because he stopped. Bartosz, I'm sure, wanted to take Mexico, Panama, Cameroon, and so now no presence in Central America for Bartosz. Let's see if that changes. Let's see. Oh, boy. And a nice hand here. CRGs is great. Puppets is even better. How I Learned to Potentially Stop a Coup. And then We Will Bury You and Muslim. Muslims is certainly annoying here, even with Middle East scored. So I think Muslim Muslim, we will bury you, and D-stall in hand is a little bit uncomfortable, but you do have China. I don't know. I think I probably would start with how I learned. I think that's probably fine. Use Surrey to maybe flip Lao and Indonesia is good. Okay. Yeah, and there's miscellaneous. Yeah, well, how I learned would be GG, folks. So the game would have not been nearly as interesting. But yeah, I like how I learned. I would give We Will Bury You to this. We can afford the 3 VPs. Let's get the bad card out of our hand with 2 other completely unacceptable cards in our hand. I like giving up the 3 VPs, but denying the coup. No. I don't like that. I would much rather give up the 3 VPs to We Will Bury You. Put DEFCON down to 2, and now you gave up 1 VP, which is better than giving up 3 VPs, but now you're giving up 2 coups in Africa. I don't like that decision by Bartosz. I would have much rather seen him give We Will Bury You, stomach the 3 VPs. Then he can, he's got a lot fewer hand management problems. He should be able to double space, and he could play China even if not. So not that part of it really isn't a concern, but I'm a little surprised by that from him, especially given the state of Africa. And I wonder if Bartosz has grand realigned plans, but I don't think he does. I don't see a good spot on the board for realigns. Okay, just a 2-op coup, presumably in Africa. Okay, big roll in Angola. And that's awkward because Bartosz is not going to want to coup that back with the 2-op. So I think this may be a coup or just taking... Yeah, I like this. I like just taking the Southeast Asian countries. Okay, De Gaulle for a Lao coup. Oh, okay, and a We Will Bury You coup of Angola misses. I think this has to go Zaire, yeah, and it will. So maybe that's the reason Bartosz decided not to give We Will Bury You, is he wanted that NORAD op. Okay, so Bartosz loses Angola and 3 VPs, but gets some hand flexibility in the process. Okay, with Nicaragua... I think if I had Central, I would have just scored it if I were Jorge. But yeah, I think you've got to take Central America presence. You're obviously not triggering the war. You don't need the mill ops. Yeah, you don't need Algeria at the moment either. Certainly Bartosz anxious to get puppets off and start spreading out in South America. Oh, brush. Is that going to be Panama? No, Thailand, and he misses. Oh, full strength brush. JR. Hope you were not watching. But that's a huge roll. That is a huge miss. That is obviously 4 VP swing in Southeast Asia. Could very well have decided Asia Dom as well. Would have in the moment flipped Asia Dom, so straight up 10 VP swing in the scoring. But obviously Asia is scored, so we'll see when that comes around again. All 3 early war regions scored, but none of the mid-war regions scored. Okay, and there's one small step. Not going to try spacing first, just immediately triggering the event. And now we'll see if Jorge can steal 2 VPs with a space shot here. No, not going to space defectors. Going to give up the VP and take back Burma and Iraq. That seems like it could have waited. I think I would have spaced there. Save the VP, potentially grab 2 of your own. But okay, perhaps we're looking at OPEC. Oh, ABM, my goodness. And he uses it in Africa, not South America. Very interesting. Okay, big role there in Zaire. I think that makes sense. Okay, South America control over here for Bartosz. Bartosz gets some problematic red events. He does get voice. Che is just a one coup right now of Cameroon. Okay, voice quickly headlined here, and I think it's the only one that really makes sense. But what's it really going to do? Okay, Quagmire cancels out NORAD. What is voice going to do? Yeah, I guess it's got to be Angola. Sure, this makes sense. With Quagmire, whatever you do, it doesn't matter a ton because you're going to give up the coup, and then Bartosz will be able to repair. Question is Bartosz going to ignore South America? You could just coup Nigeria and then take Africa Dom on your AR2. Oh, Bert the Turtle. I'm not sure I understand that. You don't need to play Bert unless there's something else going on, because unless his hand is really bad. I wouldn't have wanted to give up the 3 VPs, and you can coup and repair the damage with Bartosz in the trap. But nonetheless, okay, Bartosz out of the trap in 1. Gets rid of Muslims, which is an annoying card. The rest of these are stomachable, if necessary. Space still a priority, and there it goes. Jorge hits the space roll. Okay, so he clearly wanted that first space roll. He got it, and it paid off for him. Jorge finally going to get some ops into Poland here. Oh, a coup of Cameroon. Okay, and that plays right into Bartosz's hands because now Che is free. So I think that'll be the play here. Okay, so I criticized Bartosz's play, I criticized Jorge's play of Duck on AR1, but he clearly has a tricky hand. He spaced grain, and then he still, even with grain spaced, decided to self-trap. Maybe this is Portuguese, just eventing Portuguese and cooing South Africa. But, yeah, this is fine. I think that can wait. And now, I think you certainly do want a space here. Blockade is gone. Let's remember that. So is NORAD. Okay. So a coup presumably of Nicaragua to protect Cuba. Nixon for ops. Cultural is around. I believe Usuri was just played for ops. So now both blue China events in the discard. Cultural is unseen. Gunman Haiti. Yep. And I think we'll just see a coup there. And now I believe 5-year plan is around. So I wonder if we'll see 5-year plan South America right here. No, just the cultural event. And so we could just see those realigns. But the problem is if you realign, you give up Africa Dom. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to kick him out of Cuba. Cuba is essentially 3 VPs. Africa Dom is 3 VPs, but Africa Dom's easy to get back. Okay, but he doesn't do it. And 5-year plan in Bartosz's hand. So that is important. Southeast Asia scoring right now is dead even. Bartosz checking out the discard pile. Less than 15 minutes left on Jorge's clock. OPEC right now is 3, thanks to Gulf states. Suez mildly annoying. I wonder if it's 5-year plan again. Sadat is fine as well. Five-year plan backfired on Jorge last time. He pulled duck, which conceded Thailand. Now Bartosz can't salt here because Thailand could get realigned. Oh, okay, and there goes Junta. So just going to get rid of the scoring card, which is even. Freeze up salt. And now Junta is interesting because I'm sure, obviously, Jorge wants a coup in the Americas, but a coup in Africa is an 8 VP swing. Okay, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Just going to coup Haiti, stop the realigned threat on Cuba, and now presumably we'll take a battleground coup. Could be Nigeria. We'll see. Yeah, this is a tough spot for Jorge because he wants to... a coup in Nigeria stops Africa, actually flips Africa Dom. It's a full 8 VP swing, but then Bartosz maintains control in South America. Okay, omit. And yeah, that's a very sad face on Bartosz as he sees South America, his best scoring, in the draw deck. Oh, and a huge, huge one. Wow, what a huge one there. Anything but a 1 locks up Africa Dom. Doesn't lock it up, but it gets Africa Dom at least temporarily for Jorge. Okay, now we'll see a jam. No. Paraguay instead of Uruguay, I'm not sure I understand, but okay. Botswana stops Africa Dom. Okay, and there's Portuguese. So I think we'll see Africa if Jorge has it. Now would be the time. Jorge now just getting... Okay, nope, he's going to go for the realigns in South Africa, and he hits the roll. Okay. Question is, do you want to fight? Do you want to try and fight this Africa Dom? You know he doesn't have South. Given his use of Junta, you've got to think he has Africa, though. So yeah, what do you do here? Sadat's got to be an event. Sadat definitely has to be an event. Salt you'd probably like to event. South African is free once South Africa gets filled. Brezhnev obviously fine on AR7, AR6 in a pinch. But yeah, this is tough. You could just space here, but then Jorge's just going to take South Africa, and then you've got a coup Cameroon after that. I suppose what you could do, you could space, and then Jorge takes South Africa, and then you can coup Cameroon with South African, which is now all of a sudden free. Both players very low on their clocks right now. See, okay, so you're going to poke Saudi and stop Africa Dom. But now taking South Africa will retake Africa Dom. Okay, oh, Central. Interesting. All right. Bartosz with a little breathing room is able to take Egypt. China should take South Africa here, and maybe Zimbabwe as well. Nope, gonna take Poland. Never, don't really think about that often as the about Poland getting its third influence of the game. Okay, and Jorge under 12 minutes now to play to play more than 4 turns potentially. So yeah, just 1 in Saharan is enough. And he does have Africa. Okay. So after all that, Africa scores for just 1. So at 1 for Jorge in Africa. And 2 for Bartosz in Central America. And South America goes till turn 7. Salt for Alliance I like. That's a nice easy 6 VPs. Which I wonder if I wouldn't just take them now. I guess you try the coup. Yeah, you really don't want Thailand getting realigned, which Jorge could have done that turn. Oh boy, it took a big roll on Zaire and knocked it down to 1. Okay, and there goes South America. Okay, now let's see Jorge's cards, brought to you once again by executive producer Anton Scott. So not a particularly strong hand. Shuttle is a problem for Jorge. Ask not really an issue. True. So Usuri is a redraw. That might be the only redraw though. So Ask not pretty much free. Nuke subs definitely an issue, but fine on AR7. Kitchen debates probably active would be my guess. Allende, Lib Theo. Okay, and also of note, Jorge has headline peak, and Jorge knows. Bartosz knows Jorge's entire hand. So South America scoring. I think this is probably just Allende to stop control. It'll still be Dom, so it still costs 2 VP. I think the idea is he wants to see an Allende headline here instead of Lib Theo. He's willing to give up 2 VPs to not see Lib Theo here. Yep, there's Allende. So South America will score for 6, and a quick nuke subs. Realignment. Oh, that is a disaster. So he realigns Thailand and misses on the roll. And now Cuban takes DEFCON all the way down. And now, with that early nuke subs, Bartosz decides maybe he wants to get some cooing done. They're going to realign in Zaire. Oh, these realigns have been horrific. 2 shots at Thailand at +2, got nothing out of it. Now 3 shots at Zaire at +1, just to try and get 1 out of there, and got nothing. Okay, and Alliance now going to be 5. Kennedy to space for 3 VPs, although really not. Kennedy pretty free here. I think I would have spaced Shuttle instead. I think I would have rather gotten Kennedy out. And then here's Libs. This will just be an easy 3-op repair. Oh, just a 2-op repair. Jorge also, the Middle East is even right now, but it's just one op away from being dominated. Oh boy, realigns again. Okay, hits it. Oh, and a huge roll in South America. Wow, rolling at +1, gets a 6-1 and completely flips Argentina. Yep, and we just saw a coup there. Okay, and opponent event is, and Kitchen's active. So Africa is just going to, those two African countries just going to sit there empty because of nuke subs, which is interesting. Okay, and there goes Usuri. Last chance to really use the event. Okay, Europe scoring is not great, but War Games certainly is. So Bartosz has to be happy to see War Games in his hand. Can't headline Missile Envy here. I guess it's how I learned, perhaps? Brush? Maybe Brush of Italy. Maybe Brush is your headline. But I guess I like how I learned. Yeah, I think Brush is fine. Hit Italy. If you hit Italy with that, you don't even need War Games. Oh, there's Gunman. Okay. And that hits, and that's going to do it. That's going to do it. So Gunman is certainly we would have seen Aldrich rather than Gunman if Bartosz had it. If Jorge had it. So now Europe scoring Europe here is GG. Obviously a coup in War Games is GG. I have to think this game is just about over. Okay, coup's Nigeria. Now all three, it's turn 8. It's turn 8 and all three African one stabs are empty. Yeah, I think this is, Europe scoring is GG. And so is War Games, and he'll go with Europe scoring to get the VP track victory on turn 8. So, hope you enjoyed this game. This was certainly an interesting one. Jorge with some chaotic plays. Some of them worked out for him, but a lot of them did not. Particularly the strange Tibet opening on turn 1 allowed Bartosz to score a Europe domination without Italy, which is rare. But that is going to do it for this game. Thank you very much for joining in. Thank you to the two players, Bartosz and Jorge, for sending over their videos. And thank you to Anton Scott for producing this and premiering it on YouTube and making sure that we knew the known cards in Jorge's hand. And thanks most of all to you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this game as much as we enjoyed bringing it home to you. But until next time, for Action Round Zero, this is Justin Abramson. So long for just a while.
I heard a young father, a very prominent young man in the entertainment world, addressing a tremendous gathering in California. It was during the time of the Cold War, and communism and our own way of life were very much on people's minds, and he was speaking to that subject. And suddenly, though, I heard him saying, "I love my little girls more than anything," and I said to myself, "Oh no, don't say that." But I had underestimated him. He went on, "I would rather see my little girls die now, still believing in God, than have them grow up under communism and one day die no longer believing in God." thereby remove yourself from the struggle between right and wrong.